Wide receivers, we'll see. Wide receivers, you got two guys you got a big discrepancy on. I always like hearing about those. One, not much of one, but we'll spend a little more time on the first ones. Isaiah McKenzie at KC, you got him at 29. The experts have him all the way down at 48, which is crazy. I'm starting him this week, I can tell you that. Also, along those same veins, Chris Olave at the Bengals, you got him at 17. The experts got him down at 29. Those are big discrepancies between those guys. Why do you think there's such a big gap between you and the pros, the supposed pros?
My guess for Olave is it might be injury related. I imagine that will come up somewhat throughout the week, but I would be shocked to see him enter the top 20. People are often cautious with these injuries, and if he doesn't play, then this is all wasted breath. But let's just keep in mind that this guy has put up 19, 15, 13 points, and 13 was in like just about 3 quarters, even less than that. Last week was seeing 38% targets on his routes before getting hurt last week. The guy's been a beast. He is number 1 in air yards, number 4 in air yard share, 754 air yards, 41% of his team's air yards on the season. He's also, though, number 15 in deep, number 1 rather, with 15 deep targets. He's also in the top 20 in red zone targets this year. I mean, he's getting so much money volume. So if Olave's out there with no MT, no Landry, the guy's an immediate, just no-brainer. Lock him into your lineup. So keep him in there. But McKenzie, yeah, I think this one I don't know why the experts are always so low on this guy. 18 and 10 in his last 2 games. Those 10 points were in just about a half of action. And I dug it up. So he saw 9 and 6 targets the last 2 weeks. He's only seen 6 or more targets 8 times in his career. He's averaged 15.4 fantasy points in those, just a beast in those situations. He's been a top 20 wide receiver in over half of the matchups where he's seen 6 or more targets. And against the Chiefs, I mean, they're going to be throwing early and often. We have Jamison Crowder on IR, so I think we're going to get McKenzie in a near 100% snap roll. Maybe Khalil Shakir off of a nice game last week. Maybe he plays that Crowder role and we get like a 60-40 split. Even so, I think McKenzie will feast, but especially if he gets 100% of the snaps, Chiefs are bad. I mean, 9th in terms of Chiefs are bad against receivers. Shouldn't say a bad team. They're a good team. Obviously, one of the few good teams in the NFL right now, but bad against receivers, particularly vulnerable, intermediate range. I think McKenzie could have a feast this week. So 19 spots higher than the ECR and not batting an eye at it.
Another guy, Chris Godwin, you got him at 16. The experts have him at 19. It's not much of a discrepancy, but why do you like Godwin?
Facing the Steelers. I mean, lock it in anybody, but especially the slot receivers against Steelers. They're bad against everybody. Everybody's going to get theirs, but they're particularly bad, like historically bad against slot receivers this year, last year, and really just always against Tomlin. It's just a way he runs his defense for some reason. They don't defend slot receivers. We've seen Godwin play 43 of his 53 snaps in the first game he was back in the slot. Then the next game, he saw over half of his slot snaps again in the slot. He didn't play a ton. They kind of eased him back into the game, but the majority of those came in the slot yet again. So yeah, big fan of Chris Godwin this week. I think he's going to destroy the slot secondary there.
Lower, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle again facing Minnesota. Hill, you got at 14. The experts have him all the way up at 9. Waddle, you got at 20. The experts like him at 15. Why are you fading both of these guys?
Well, it being kind of an obvious and easy reason here is Skylar Thompson, whoever this quarterback is. I'm worried about him. I think he's going to tank the value of these guys till they're in. I think Bridgewater was good enough to sustain it. And yeah, the offense, it's dink, get it out of their hands, let the playmakers make their plays. So they could be okay. But last week, 6 points for Tyreek Hill in half PPR, wide receiver 41. Not a great effort with 47 yards, 7 catches. I guess at 10 in half PPR, 32, but still not a top 5 guy like he's locked into the rankings right now. And then Jalen Waddle, he's been kind of mediocre for 2 straight weeks now with 5 and 4 fantasy points. Again, steadily ranked in your top, like everybody has him in the top 10 right now. I don't know. Not a big fan. So yeah, a little bit lower on those guys due to the quarterback play.
Pittman against Jacksonville, you got him at 21. The experts like him up at 16. That's a decent discrepancy. Why are you a little lower on this guy?
He's had one good game this season.
Yep, that's why.
Against Houston, 9, 121, 23 fantasy points. Looked like the next great alpha. Since then, it's just been a whole lot of meh. 11, 5, and 8 fantasy points across his last 3 games. And the most damning stat I heard today, he's only seen 1 target that had more than 15 yards under it. Alec Pierce, meanwhile, is getting peppered deep, peppered intermediate, actually out-targeted him, outplayed him, outgained him in every single meaningful category last week. The Jags played well against Pittman last time out. I'm just worried about him. I don't know why everybody sees him as this clear-cut, locked-in starter. At wide receiver 21, yeah, you probably play him, but he's certainly worth questioning if you guys have questions on Pittman. Not fully in love with this guy this week.
Romeo Doubs, I really agree with this take. Also, going against the Jets, you got him at 40. The experts like him all the way up at 31. I would have a very hard time justifying a ranking that high from the experts. I even think 40 might even be a little bit too high. What do you think about him?
Yeah, one, the Jets have just actually been a sneaky good secondary this year. Two, Doubs, 3 catches, 29 yards, 4 points. It looked like he was on the verge, 17, 11, and then 4. Comes crashing back to earth. It looked like he had kind of earned the trust of Rodgers, the target share, like he was a locked-in number 2. And then Cobb comes in after a week of the coach praising Cobb, saying we need to get him more involved, and eats 13 targets. He's actually my Hail Mary, so we can kind of hit Cobb there too at only 13% rostered. The coach wants him more involved. He was more involved, and he was really the heartbeat of this passing game last week. So, yeah, I prefer Doubs over Cobb in a vacuum. If I had them both, I'd play Doubs, but Doubs is getting ranked as like a locked flex play. And I think Rodgers, I don't know what it was that pissed him off, but something about Doubs last week, he got the cold shoulder from Rodgers, and it's just scary to know that can happen any given week.
Yeah, and Rodgers is such a moody little bastard.
Such a moody yeah.
Hail Mary, Rondale Moore, 7 catches on 8 targets for 68 yards in the Cardinals' Week 5 loss to the Eagles. He's only 36% owned, so I think that's a very viable Hail Mary, maybe even a step above Hail Mary. Anything to add on Moore there?
Yes, 63 of 69 snaps, 41 of 45 routes, 8 targets on the 38. So all high percentages that you love to see. We still got no more Hopkins. I think even when Hopkins is back, he's the locked-in slot role, which we saw for Dortch, top 10 top 10 or more points in 3 of his 4 starts. And then Moore comes and walks right into 7 catches, 68 yards, over 10 points there too. Solid. And again, the Cardinals, most plays in the league, 72.2 snaps per game, given how bad their defense is. I think this game has it gets second highest total on the slate. Just ugly, but sexy at the same time shootout potential in this game. So give me all the pieces I can. In addition to him, I love Alec Pierce. He's now up to 34% rostered, 8 catches, 81 yards. First game over 50% route share. Saw 75% of the routes and really thrived, pacing the team in all meaningful categories. I think that number continues to go up after 9, 12, and 16 fantasy points across his last 3. Another 15-plus effort could be there. And I already mentioned Cobb, 13 targets. I wouldn't be shocked to see another 10 targets or so, even though he's ran less routes, played less snaps than Doubs. When he's in, Rodgers trusts him. He's a go-to guy for the move and the chains. I think we could see another decent effort here against the Jets. They're good on the outside with Sauce Gardner, good outside corners. They're more susceptible over the middle. So I'm intrigued to see what Cobb does there too.
All right, real quick, guys, we're watching Gabe Davis coming back to KC. 4 touchdowns last time. Plus also how does McKenzie look in his return? Also, will Christian Kirk and Drake London rebound? Great questions.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.